unemployed and trying to open an account. That's not gonna happen.
Said a colleague at the bank I used to work at. I had left for various reasons, but now I had business with this bank again. When I got there, a former coworker said mockingly,
We don't open accounts for the unemployed.
the bank employee, who used to be my peer, had a nasty smirk on his face.
Time to cut ties. Huh.
Fine by me. You'll regret it though. I responded in anger. In a fit of rage, I decided to close my account, severing ties. This decision would eventually lead to hell for him, but also save him in a way. I'm Mike Simmons. I have a wife, family, and a young daughter, Sophia. I graduated from a prestigious university's economics program and used to work in banking. I met Emily during college.
Hey, you're Mike, right?
Yeah, that's me.
I'm Emily.
At the time, I thought she was just another student at the same university, but her approach made me take notice of her. Why did you talk to me?
I liked how you were dedicated to your goals. And Mike, you helped an old lady the other day, right?
You saw that?
Yes. I knew it had to be you. Above all, you're honest and sincere, and I like that.
Thanks. I was flattered by her passionate approach, and we started dating. My decision to study economics was influenced by my father. He always said, it's people and money that run a company. I inherited that belief from him. My father, Michael, once ran a small business. It was less than 20 employees. Watching my father work hard with this philosophy made me empathize with him and choose the same path. Sadly, he passed away due to illness before I graduated, joining my mother, who had died earlier in a car accident.
I get why you're so straightforward. It's your dad's influence.
Really?
Yes. Let me help you. Not as a replacement for your parents, but I'll support you, Mike.
Thanks, Emily. After graduating, I started working at a bank. I worked honestly and earnestly, just as Emily said.
Mike is really quick at his job.
Yeah, and accurate too.
People like Mike are what you call the elite.
Is Mike single?
I heard he's engaged.
Oh, that's a shame. I thought an elite banker would be nice.
My hard work was well recognized by my peers. I think I have a quicker mind than most that helped me handle task after task efficiently, making me a rising star at work.
Mike's been showing off lately, hasn't he?
Yeah, all the girls are fawning over him.
Seriously, just doing his job, and he gets all this attention.
While I was praised, I also faced some jealousy from colleagues. I knew about their whispers behind my back.
They're just jealous of you.
Jealousy?
Yeah. Working hard and being the center of attention as a rising star like you, Mike, must make others envious.
Emily explained this to me, and I finally understood. So I was the object of jealousy around here, but I was just doing my job. I tried not to let it bother me too much, but there was one guy who was a real pain.
Hey, Simmons.
What do you want, Johnson?
Elite here is so full of himself.
If you got nothing for me, don't bother me. That was Hero Johnson. He seemed to see me as an enemy, always picking on me. I could ignore the others, but Johnson interfered with my work, which was really annoying.
What? Why do you get assigned to the main branch before me?
I don't make these decisions, Johnson. It's up to the higher-ups. Johnson had wanted to be assigned to the main branch, but I got there first, which made his hostility even more obvious. Until then, he hadn't really harassed me, We both just focused on our work. But once my assignment was decided, the backbiting and harassment started. I couldn't understand his obsession with the main branch, but honestly, his presence was becoming a problem for me. For a while, I had a good boss and things were calm. But when Johnson was assigned to the main branch a year later, my peace was shattered.
You don't belong here.
If you got something to say, just say it.
Me? Overthinking things, aren't you?
And then Johnson's harassment started again. He passed by with nasty comments. Oops.
Sorry. Didn't see your shoe there. Accidentally spilled coffee on it.
He dirtied my freshly polished shoes. He also bumped into me on purpose, threw away my documents pretending they were trash, and more. It was getting hard to focus on work. Apart from my boss, everyone else just ignored it. They probably found it bothersome or didn't like me standing out. Then a loan fraud scandal broke out. The client's financial statements that we both managed were tampered with, and it seemed the bank had turned a blind eye.
They say you orchestrated everything.
No, that's not true. I didn't do anything. Who would say such a thing?
That's right. He wouldn't do something like that. There's no evidence.
The accuser remains anonymous to prevent grudges. It's all on you.
I can't believe this. I was being blamed for something I had no part in.
Ha, serves you right. You were so annoying.
Johnson, you didn't.
What are you talking about?
His attitude afterward made it clear he had set me up. I was just doing my job, yet I got caught in this mess. I was fed up with it.
Hey, Mike.
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry for causing trouble.
It's not your fault, Mike. You didn't do anything wrong, right?
Yeah, I really didn't. So what are you trying to say?
Do you have to stay in banking?
What do you mean?
I hate seeing you so troubled. Luckily, my job is going well. Maybe you don't need to stick with banking.
Emily suggested I leave the bank, and I agreed.
You quitting is a relief. Goodbye, you unemployed loser.
That was Johnson's last words to me as I left the bank. Emily,
What?
I've got another job lined up, but it might be tough at first. Will you stick with me?
Of course. I was planning to do so all along.
With Emily's support, I started my new job. Eventually, we got married and gave birth to Sophia. It's been a few years since I left the bank. Despite my distaste for the cutthroat competition among my peers, I still had a fondness for the bank itself, and took pride in the work I did there. That's why I continued to use the bank as a customer. Today, I was heading to the bank to use my safe deposit box.
I'll come to pick you up in a bit.
Okay, see you later.
Daddy, come back soon.
Sure, I will. After waving goodbye to Emily and Sophia, who were heading to the park, I entered the bank.
I'll be right with you. Wait, aren't you Simmons?
Johnson. I had run into Johnson again.
Long time no see. Still unemployed, I guess.
No, I'm just off today.
Off today, off every day, right?
I was dressed casually for the park, which made Johnson mistakenly think I was still unemployed, and he started to mock me.
Using the safe deposit box. But an unemployed person can't open an account, right?
As usual, Johnson was being rude to me. Honestly, I didn't want to meet him.
We don't open accounts for the unemployed.
He said with a nasty smirk. I was getting fed up. His past harassment flashed through my mind, and I thought it might be time to strike back.
Maybe it's time to cut ties.
Okay, but you'll regret it.
I won't regret it. Poor jobless people like you should just leave.
Fine, but first let me cancel my safe deposit box and account.
Shoot yourself.
I made my declaration and left the bank.
Daddy?
Oh, you're back early.
A lot happened. I'll tell you about it when we get home. And Emily, I need your help with something.
It doesn't sound good. All right. I won't forgive anyone who hurts you, Mike.
Just take it easy, okay?
Daddy, let's play.
Sure, let's play. The next day, Emily and I were at home. Sophia was with her grandparents.
Thank you for your time today. And I'm truly sorry about what happened.
Please come in. My former boss, the bank's branch manager, John Smith, came to apologize, dragging Johnson by the collar.
Our branch could be in trouble without a major client like you, Simmons. I'm terribly sorry. This was due to my lack of foresight.
Smith was almost bowing, apologizing profusely. I understand your apology, Smith.
But it seems he doesn't think the same.
Emily said that coldly, looking at Johnson, who was being held by the head in dissatisfaction.
Is there something you want to say to my husband?
Who needs an account of someone who caused trouble?
Johnson, do you even understand why you are here?
Let him speak his mind. Branch manager Smith yelled at Johnson, who was muttering without showing any remorse. Emily intervened, facing Johnson.
The money in that account is probably dirty anyway.
Unfortunately for you, I've known this man's integrity since college. You know he couldn't have done such a thing, don't you?
That guy caused the incident, didn't he?
Well, someone set him up, right? Mike would never do such a thing. Was there any actual evidence?
That is.
Emily cornered Johnson with her words. Seeing this, I turned to branch manager Smith. Smith, could you investigate the loan fraud incident? If the truth comes out, I'll reconsider closing my account.
Thank you. I'll look into it right away.
If you need a specialist, let me know. I have contacts.
Yes, of course.
Branch manager Smith agreed and left, dragging Johnson with him.
I'll make a call, just in case.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
Of course, it's a perfect opportunity to clear your name. I'll meddle as much as necessary.
You're really reliable, Emily.
Thank you.
With the help of specialists arranged by Emily and the reinvestigation by branch manager Smith, it turned out Johnson was behind the tampering.
Reviewing the security footage, we saw Johnson tampering, and a person introduced by your wife spoke to Johnson's colleagues. They confessed to being coerced by him.
Branch manager Smith came to our house to report this a few days later. And Johnson,
he's been fired, considering everything.
So after years, my suspicion was finally cleared. Thank you for looking into this. I look forward to continuing our relationship.
Yes? Thank you as well.
Don't be so formal. Weren't you my boss?
Now you're a client. I can stop if it bothers you.
Please continue as before.
Understood. I appreciate your continued business.
That's all right. Thus, I continued my business with my former employer. The reason branch manager Smith went to such lengths was because I had opened an account with $15 million in it. After leaving the bank, I started a recruitment service for banking and accounting professionals. Having worked in banking for several years, I wanted to leverage that experience and focus on people handling money, following the philosophy of it's people and money that run a company.
Leave the finances to me. I'm doing well as a lawyer.
Thanks, Emily.
In return, let's make an exclusive contract with your company.
Sure, I'll count on you then. With Emily's help as a lawyer, I successfully started my business. The first year was tough, especially in gaining trust from companies. Some acquaintances from my banking days knew about the incident and were skeptical, but by being honest and straightforward, I gained their trust.
Working with you, Simmons, was the right choice.
I'm glad I could help. Now, my service is highly regarded even for executive recruitment. The $50 million account belonged to my company. I can't thank you enough, Emily.
I've been helped a lot by you too, Mike. The blessings we're receiving now are proof of how earnestly you faced everything.
You think so? After things stabilized, we had a wedding and received blessings from many people. Leaving the bank allowed me to find happiness. And for that, I was grateful to Johnson. I was a bit concerned about his future. Despite the harassment and betrayal, I had seen him do his job meticulously several times. If it weren't for my involvement, I think Johnson would have been a decent guy. So I always kept him in the back of my mind. It really is Johnson. One day, while checking the new registrations at my recruitment service company, I found a familiar name. There was no mistaking it. It was Hero Johnson's name. It seemed he had registered for our services after being fired from the bank. Career consultation. Today, huh? All right. I decided to attend Johnson's career consultation meeting myself.
What? Simmons, you work here.
I do more than work here. I founded this company. As I handed him my business card, Johnson looked surprised.
You started a business after being forced out of the bank. You didn't give up.
Yeah, with my wife's support, it's grown this much.
That's really impressive. Simmons.
Johnson stood up and bowed deeply to me.
I'm truly sorry for everything I did, for the harassment and for framing you. I really am sorry.
I wanted to hear an apology. That's enough. Let's talk about work.
Thank you, Simmons.
We then had a detailed discussion about his approach to his next job. From the conversation, it was clear Johnson had changed and was sincere about working hard. Honestly, being fired is a big negative image.
I understand.
So it'll be a small company with few applicants. Is that okay?
Of course, I'll do any job if I'm hired.
All right. I'll talk to them about your situation.
Thank you.
I introduced him to a small company that had trouble attracting applicants, explaining everything, including the loan fraud incident that led to my downfall.
Simmons, do you believe he's changed?
Yes, he's sincerely remorseful and committed to working honestly. He was always meticulous and skilled.
I see. Even with his past, we'll accept him if he's sincere now.
Thank you. Johnson got the job at the small company. With his high skill level, he soon became a relied upon member of their team. Hey, Johnson, I've always wanted to ask you something.
What is it?
I invited him for a drink once things settled down. He agreed, and I decided to ask him something that had been bothering me. Why did you harass me so much? It started around the time I got assigned to the main branch, right?
Yeah, honestly, I was jealous. You got assigned to the branch I wanted, the one my parents told me to aim for.
Your parents? Johnson looked a bit troubled as he explained.
My dad was a banker too. He always raised me to be a banker and to become successful like him.
That sounds tough.
Really, I wasn't allowed to do much besides studying.
Didn't you ever rebel?
When I was little, I once skipped studying to play, and I got locked in a closet and lectured. That became a trauma for me, so the idea of defying never crossed my mind.
I was shocked. I didn't know much about Johnson, but it seemed he had his own struggles.
My mom always said my dad was right. It felt like they were just imposing their values on me.
That must have been hard. Were you unhappy?
Kind of. I was always under pressure, and it was tough. When I saw you, who seemed to have it easier, get assigned to the main branch first, I just couldn't accept it and acted childishly. I'm really sorry.
Apology accepted.
Sorry. And, well, my dad found out about someone more talented than me and told me to bring you down.
Quite the father. Apparently, he was taught to outdo anyone more skilled than him, just like his father did.
But now, I've been fired because of the incident, right?
Yeah.
So I was disowned and kicked out because I'm no longer a banker.
Are you okay?
I'm fine now. The company let me use the staff dormitory after I explained my situation. Honestly, I feel relieved.
Really?
Yeah, I finally feel free from my parents, able to work on my own terms.
As long as you're happy, that's good.
I'm grateful to you. After being fired from the bank and disowned by my parents, I was in despair. Then you reached out to help me. Thank you, truly.
It's mutual. Your work performance is enhancing our company's reputation.
I'm glad I can contribute.
Johnson smiled. It showed genuine happiness, unlike his unpleasant smirks of the past. Emily, can we get help from the person who assisted us last time?
Sure. What's up?
I told Emily about Johnson's situation when I got home.
That sounds like an interesting development. I'll contact them right away.
Thanks to her efforts, Johnson's father was investigated, and multiple wrongdoings were uncovered. His father fell from grace and ended up with debts due to compensation.
Simmons, you were behind this, weren't you?
What are you talking about?
Really? Anyway, they contacted me.
Really?
Yeah, they said, you're our son. Help us pay off the debts and support our living expenses. I rejected them, saying your son no longer exists.
Be careful, just in case.
Yeah, I haven't told them about my current company, and the boss said they couldn't connect them to me.
Then you should be fine.
Thank you, really.
After talking with Johnson, I received a call that a man and a woman claiming to be his parents came to our company. Excuse me, are you looking for someone our company introduced?
You're the president. I'm Johnson's father. Tell me where that foolish son of mine is.
I can't disclose personal information.
Personal information. We're his parents.
Yes, I've heard about you from him. Please stop obsessing over a son you disowned.
What?
By the way, I was the one who had you investigated.
You did? What have you done?
If you lay a hand on my husband, calling the police won't be the only thing I do.
Emily appeared just as his father was about to hit me.
We have reports and evidence of what you've done.
Who are you?
I'm Simmons' wife and a lawyer.
A lawyer?
And I represent your former son. Be prepared for what's coming.
Emily was impressive as she sent them away. I was captivated by her. Thanks to her efforts, Johnson was able to completely cut ties with his parents and was very grateful. He's working earnestly now. It seems the daughter of the company president took a liking to his new attitude. He recently told me they started dating.
If we ever get married, will you come?
Of course. I was relieved to see Johnson happy. I need to thank Emily's contact.
Yeah, actually, we're treating them to dinner soon. Want to join?
Are they okay with that?
Yes. They're a husband and wife detective team. They're coming together, so it's fine.
Then I might take you up on that.
How about a family picnic? They have a son about Sophia's age.
That sounds nice. Thanks to Emily, our social circle expanded. The detectives, the Ians, were quite an interesting couple.
I'm Ethan Ian. I run a detective agency.
And I'm his wife, Sarah.
I'm Emily's husband, Mike.
I've heard a lot about you from Emily. Now, Mike, a voice recorder is essential for those crucial moments.
And ideally, having video footage would be great.
They handed me a small voice recorder and camera, and I couldn't help but chuckle. By the way, how did you and Emily meet?
We were high school classmates. She's always been set on becoming a lawyer, so it's handy having connections in detective work and credit investigation agencies. We contacted these two when they said they were going to be detectives.
Interesting.
We gather lots of evidence.
We promised to be allies to the vulnerable. We couldn't attend your wedding, though, so it's really the first time meeting you, Mike.
You didn't invite them. You seem close.
We're good friends. They were overseas around the time of our wedding.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, they were on a detective training trip.
And we couldn't make it to the wedding. We had our wedding overseas, too.
I wonder what detective training involves.
They're a bit unconventional, but that's what makes it interesting.
Definitely. It's a bit unusual, but enjoyable to talk to them. The Ians were smiling, and it naturally brought a smile to my face, too. So, you've said a lot about me, huh?
Oh, nothing in particular.
Emily tried to cover up in a fluster, making me think she must have been venting about me.
Emily is totally smitten with you, Mike.
All she does is gush about him.
Hey, stop.
Aha, thank you, Emily. So, she was gushing about me. I remember Johnson once saying, "You turn into a total romantic when you talk about your wife." In a way, we might be a similar couple. As we deepened our friendship with the detective couple, our daughter Sophia and the Ian's son Ryan became good friends too. I noticed them holding hands and smiling.
I'm going to be your wife, Ryan. Then I'll protect you, Sophia.
Wait, hold on. Isn't this a bit too early? I panicked when they started talking about marriage. When I mentioned this to Smith, who visited us recently, he laughed heartily.
I'm glad everything's working out. Sorry. If I had been a better supervisor, I could have prevented all this.
You couldn't have done anything at that time. You weren't the branch manager yet.
Even so, I should have noticed.
After the incident, Smith stepped down as branch manager, feeling responsible for it. He thought about resigning, but was persuaded by the bank to start over. Now I'm more into training younger staff, Smith said. I owed him a lot when I was his subordinate. When I was newly assigned, he patiently answered all my questions and was good at motivating me with advice and praise.
Johnson, if you have time to be sarcastic, focus on your work. Your work is well regarded for its meticulousness. I'm counting on you too.
Yes.
He noticed Johnson's harassment and was the only one to reprimand him while others ignored it. Johnson obediently followed Smith's advice since he also provided support. Even during the time I was falsely accused, Smith stood up for me, arguing with the higher-ups because there was no evidence. He's always been polite even after I became a client, and he always reprimands properly when needed. That's the kind of person he is. Oh right, Johnson mentioned he wants to invite you to his wedding.
I'd definitely like to attend. It seems a bit premature, though.
They're both in their first relationship and are quite affectionate with each other.
It's good to see them happy.
Eventually, we would all be invited to celebrate their wedding. It seems Johnson is now even more dedicated to his work. Of course, I'm not falling behind either. I'm constantly striving to help more people find the right job fit. Well, this time. Oh, but there are exceptions. The name that caught my eye was Johnson's father. He actually registered with our company. I asked someone to check and then requested to have his registration deleted.
He's got some nerve.
Maybe he was trying to find information on Johnson.
He didn't even attend the wedding.
He's always been controlling Johnson's life. These are just desserts. I plan to continue facing my work honestly and straightforwardly.
It's because you're honest, Mike, that everyone trusts and relies on you.
It's because Emily was honest with me that we could be so happy together.
Haha, thank you.
And thank you from me as well. Honesty really is the best policy. Since then, Johnson and I occasionally get together for drinks. Sometimes Smith joins us, and we share stories about work and recommend things to each other. I talk about games, Johnson discusses anime and manga, and Smith talks about novels.
Honesty is the best policy.
Johnson now often says this at our gatherings.
That's right. So, you should honestly celebrate Sophia saying she wants to be a bride, right?
That's different.